The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. Our email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradio.com. Our guest this hour is Patty Pobanz. We're going to be talking about spirituality, and she's a spiritual expert, and she's going to share with us how to make this the happiest one yet. Now, why is it that, although we live in a nation of health, wealth, and prosperity, so many of us cannot find happiness and satisfaction in life? With lifestyles envied all over the world, why do millions of Americans struggle each and every day to overcome deep-rooted feelings of depression and constant stress? What is it that we seem to be lacking? And if we can't find the solution in material goods, where should we be looking? Well, our guest this hour is Patty Pobanz. She is a native Southern Californian, having formerly worked for Fortune 500 companies such as Xerox and the Walt Disney Corporation. Patty became a successful businesswoman on her own terms, opening a woman's fitness center and also becoming a respected wellness consultant and life coach speaker. Patty speaks at many seminars each year, helping people to prevent disease and stay healthy through good nutrition and fitness, as well as her talks coaching people on surviving adversity. And Patty, welcome to the X-Zone. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you. Same to you and everybody else.
Okay. Why does everybody have the blues this time of year? What's going on?
You know what? I think that this is what I believe. I believe that, the holidays come and a lot of people are already in either a negative mode or a depressed mode. When the holidays come, if they're alone or they're lonely, they get lonelier, they get sadder. But there's a lot of people that even just throughout the year, they might be lacking that happiness and that peace in their life. And because of that, they've got so much negativity around them, and they're falling more into deeper states of depression. They might have anxiety issues and or start feeling angry as well. So I don't believe it's just this time of year. I think during the holidays itself, it might get a little bit worse. But I think throughout the year, there's just millions and millions of people these days who do suffer from that depression and that sadness all the time. And I try to teach people how they can find that happiness and that peace all over.
Well, maybe you can share with us here tonight on the X-Zone how those in the listening audience who need a little bit of happiness and how should we call it, to get their spirits rejuvenated here tonight. And
there's so much you can do, and one of the ways that I try to teach people, and I teach people based on what I've gone through in my life, and I take the wisdom of what I've learned and I share that with others.
All right, why don't we do that when we come back from this 2-minute commercial break, because I'd love to hear what inspired you to do the wonderful work you're doing. Patty Pobanz is our special guest, www.pattypobanz.com. Patty and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break here on the Talkstar Radio Network. The X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, and then the show is repeated in its entirety from 2 until 6 a.m. Once again, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. Email xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradio.com. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X Zone, live and around the world from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. Patty Pobanz is our special guest. And Patty, what inspired you to write your book?
Well, I have this incredible ability to speak to God and hear His voice. And one morning I heard Him to ask me to write a book that would help bring more peace to the world. And I'd gone through my own tragic divorce many years ago, and I was once one of those people who were sad and depressed, and I struggled really hard moving forward in life. So I've learned how to find that peace and that harmony in my life now, and because of it, I was able to continue to walk forward, and now I teach others that they too can live a happy life once again. So this is what inspired me to write the book, is I knew that I'd be able to help others who may be feeling sad and depressed, and when I heard God say that I had to do this, I really felt that it was that important, because I didn't want people to go through what I went through, and I wanted to teach them that, you know what, you can move forward and you can be happy again.
Now, what is F-E-A-R?
Fear. That stands for fear, and it means false evidence appearing real. And a lot of people, what they do is they create this fear within themselves and their mind, and sometimes the fear gets so strong that they don't want to do anything, and they stay in their little hole, and they're afraid to walk forward and move forward to make changes in their life. So I try to teach everybody that fear means false evidence appearing real. So if you can just realize that, sometimes, and most of the times, you might be creating this image of being afraid to make these changes or move on, but know that if you just take those little steps every single day, you can knock down that wall, and you can start to chip away at it and start making changes in your life to find happiness again.
The name of Patty's book is Everlasting Peace in Your Life, God's Reminders to the World. And it's available at www.pattypobanz.com. You
it's
yourself
also available at Amazon.com.
Oh, it is, all right. Now,
yeah.
How did you find your way out of the deep depression that you were in?
Well, it was very unexpected, this divorce that I went through. So I got into the depression. I mean, it was really deep. And I share this now because some people are afraid to admit that they might be going through a deep depression like this. But the first thing I found is I had to admit that I was going through this, so I had to recognize and admit to myself that, hey, you know what? This is really affecting your life. And I had 2 very young children at the time, and I told myself, you know what? This is affecting my children too. So every single day I started just taking steps because I knew that I had to be a mom and and be a good role model to my children. So every day I took a step, no matter how hard it was, and I try to share with people the easiest thing that you can do to start bringing more positive into your life and to take that next step is start loving yourself. Most of the times when you're in a deep state of depression or sadness, you don't love yourself. And the number one thing you have to do is you have to love yourself from within. And, it seems to some people, they might say, oh, that's so easy. But for a lot of people, it's not. And one of the ways that you can do that is you just start telling yourself this, I love myself. Or you can look in the mirror and say it and start saying, I love myself, I love myself. And when you can start doing that and you can truly love yourself, that's when you can start moving forward too. And, another easy way is, smile at people. Even if it's hard for you to make a smile at someone. If you're in the mall somewhere, you're walking around shopping or wherever you might be, smile at the person that walks past you and see if they smile back. And if they don't, that's okay. Do it again when the next person walks past you. Those little things are going to bring positive energy into your body. And when you can surround yourself with more positive energy, you're going to be a lot more uplifted and you're going to feel good and you're going to continue to take those steps walking forward. Where if you've got too much negative issues around you and you're constantly allowing that negativity around your life, or you're surrounded by people who are negative, that's going to pull you down. Because negative energy will make you tired, it'll pull you down, and you're going to be stuck in that rut, and you're going to have a hard time moving forward. So you've got to try to pull more positive energy around you. And if you've got people around you who are negative all the time, you need to try to get away from them. But if they're like in your own family or people at work that you work with and you can't get that negativity away, you might want to try being more positive yourself around them. And if you're more positive around them, it might start making them more positive as well.
As someone with knowledge and understanding of physical fitness, Patty, how much of a bearing does our own level of fitness play in our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being?
Well, if we don't take care of our body and if we don't exercise or eat correctly, we're not going to be able to easily release stress, and we will continuously feel depressed or sad. And I really highly recommend that everybody exercises at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week minimum. And what exercise does, it releases endorphins within our body, and those endorphins are what make you feel good. They're the make you feel good hormones. So if you're exercising, and maybe you can't get into really strenuous exercise. Exercise is even walking. If you can get outside, or if you can go to a mall, if there's snow on the ground or something and you can't really get outside, walk around and just walk so you can get your heart rate up. And that's what's going to release those endorphins, and you will feel better by moving around instead of just laying on the couch or sleeping in bed all day. You've got to get out and move, and you'll feel good. And then we've got to fuel our body with good, healthy food as well. And if we do that, we're going to make our whole demeanor feel better, and our whole body will feel better as well. Because if we're not feeding our body well, and we're not fueling it with the correct nutrients, and we're eating junk all day or not eating enough, if we're starving ourselves, well, then we're not going to have enough fuel to get our bodies going, so we're not going to feel good, and it's going to make us feel even worse. But if we fuel it correctly, we'll feel really good. And I suggest that everybody has breakfast every single morning. You need to eat something with a protein, a good healthy carb, and a good healthy fat in it, and then do the same thing for lunch and dinner, and then have snacks in between as well. And that's going to keep your blood sugar levels balanced, and you're going to feel well too. And that is everything between the way we eat and the fitness that we do will help release the stress so that we can feel better. It gets rid of the stress, the depression starts to fade away, and we just feel good overall.
Patty, what have these fast food places done to the health and well-being of America?
Well, a lot of the fast food places are starting to recognize that we've got such an obese society, and they're some of the creators of it, and they're the creators of, obesity right now, because they're supersizing everything. They're offering really high-fatty foods. They're promoting, these hamburgers, which are loaded with fat, and the cheeseburgers and the French fries. And because they're supersizing everything, everyone's saying, okay, well, I'd rather have the larger portion. So year after year of this going on, society started just saying, hey, I'm getting more for my money, and I'm going to supersize everything. I'm going to eat more. But the human body wasn't designed to, one, eat that type of food, and it wasn't designed to eat that much food either. Our bodies were designed to just eat the minimum, and everybody's body's different, but to eat more fruits, eat more vegetables. And I try to teach people is eat off the land the way that the animals do in the wild. So if you look at the animals in the wild, if you look at, say, a monkey or, a giraffe, they're eating the leaves off the trees. They're eating the berries off of the bushes.
Yeah, but monkeys also eat dirt.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But again, that's from the land. And
right.
if we ate more off of the land, God gave us the land, the fruits and the vegetables and the grains for our medicine. And you have to look at the land as Mother Nature's medicine. Because if you look at the animals in the wild, they don't have issues with diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and that's because they're not eating the junk foods that we're eating, like, the artificial sweeteners, all the soda pops, the Fruit Loop cereals, the sugary foods, the Twinkies. They don't have access to that, and because they don't, they're healthier.
Yeah, I laugh. We complain that our kids are so high-strung and they have, they're just bouncing off the walls. And what do we do when they wake up in the morning? We give them cereals laced with sugar.
Exactly, or donuts, and then we send them off to school. And, here in the United States, people are sending their kids to school with a very unhealthy, unbalanced breakfast, and then their kids aren't doing well in school. They can't sit still. And what's happening is the parent then takes the child to the doctor, and the doctor says, okay, we're going to diagnose you as having ADD. And they write them a prescription and for Ritalin or some other form of drug. And then they say, okay, your child will be a little better now. They'll be a little more relaxed. But in some cases, yes, some children might need that medication.
As adults, we call that relaxation, being stoned.
Yeah, you're right. That is what it is. And, any parent out there, and there's millions of people who are letting their doctors do this to their children. You're putting drugs into your children, and they are literally getting stoned. And you might think that they're not stoned, but they are. These are drugs, and they're relaxing type drugs that are going to make them relaxed and a little more sleepy. But if we would look at the types of food that we're feeding our children before they go to school, and you recognize and you send them to school with a very well-balanced, nourished breakfast, you'll find your kids will probably do a whole lot better in school, and they'll probably be able to concentrate and sit still better, too.
1-877-528-8255 is our toll-free number. Patty Pobanz is our very special guest, and Patty is the author of Everlasting Peace in Your Life, God's Reminders to the World. It's available on her website and at Amazon.com. Patty, please stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. We will be back after the news and words from our fine sponsors. Once again, www.pattypobanz.com. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And we come to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, exclusively. We're right here on the Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away. We'll be back.
There's a new kind of television station that presents movies without commercial interruption that you can watch without any sort of subscription fee. Find out online at whitesprings.tv. The people who bring you Talkstar Radio have a television network you can watch for free on the Internet, direct from space on your own small dish and receiver, or on a growing number of TV stations and cable systems across America. White Springs TV TV presents a great mix of movie greats and not so greats, as well as more recent family-friendly titles. The movies are commercial-free. Between the movies are cartoons, soundies, previews, classic TV, and two-reelers. Go to whitesprings.tv. That's www.whitesprings.tv. A service of White Springs Media, a new kind of commercial-free movie channel you can watch for free.
Are you questioning your future in the year 2008 and what lies ahead for you in matters of family, love, finance, employment, and travel? Do you have questions that have been haunting you and now you're seeking guidance and the answer to these questions from those on the other side? If you have said yes, then you need to call Premier Psychics right now. At Premier Psychics, talented, gifted, professional psychics will help you find the answers to the questions that you seek and help you on life's metaphysical journey. Call Premier Psychics now, toll-free at 1-866-803-6593 or visit Premier Psychics online at www.premierpsychics.com. Know today what the future holds for you. Once again, call Premier Psychics toll-free at 1-866-803-6593 or visit Premier Psychics online at www.premierpsychics.com, where the extra E in Premier stands for excellence.
Hi, this is Ken Elliott. When I'm floating around the universe, I always try to tune in to Rob McConnell.
Hi, ho there, Trinity Frog on Sesame Street. When I want to find out what's going on with UFOs or ghosts, I listen to the X Zone with Rob McConnell.
This is Les Corrigan from Target Internet Development. You're listening to Rob McConnell on the X Zone Radio Show.
This is John Hogue, prophecy scholar, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Patty Pobanz is our special guest, www.pattypobanz.com. Patty, earlier in this hour, you said that you talk to God and you hear God. Now, were you talking in the spiritual sense of the word?
Oh, absolutely. I can hear his voice, and I know what his voice sounds like, and I believe that everybody has the ability to hear him or see him, but you can't have that fear, and a lot of people put that wall up because they're afraid to hear, or they might think that, oh, what is this? Or, sometimes God talks to us and shows us signs or messages throughout our day, but we might not be recognizing it, and I try to share with everybody is, you know what, open yourself up to that, because there's a whole lot more to what's going on in this universe than I think most humans can even comprehend. But I know that I can hear his voice, and he has guided me, and he has helped me out of the state of depression that I was in many years ago, and he's helped me to find a lot of happiness, and I have a very wonderful and great life today.
How do we convince people that they can turn their lives around, that it's not a downhill battle? It's a way to turn your situation around. You can't savor victory without first understanding defeat.
You're right, and one of the ways that we can do this, we have to first realize, and like I was mentioning earlier, we have to recognize that we do have a problem, because many times when people are in a state of depression or sadness, they don't even want to admit that there is a problem. But what that does, it also brings on a lot of anger. We have to first admit that there is a problem and be honest with ourselves. And then from that point on, we have to realize that there is so much more to life and a lot of goodness, and everybody is entitled to that, but you are the only person who can make the decisions to change And if you don't make the change and take the steps to make those changes, nobody else on this entire planet can do that for you. So you have to make the decision, do you want to stay sad and depressed and angry all the time, or do you want to be happy? And you have the opportunity to choose whichever direction you want to go. But if you choose the path of happiness, or you don't believe that there is a path of happiness, you should know that there is, but you have to believe it and take the steps to make the changes first of all.
Patty, is it also because people give up control and power to other people?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people, they just let everybody else speak for them. They make everybody else, make decisions for them. But and many times it might come because maybe they did something in their life that wasn't good, and they might be having guilt on them or something, and other people might be talking down on them. So they just let everybody else control how their lives are going to go. You've got to stop letting everybody else tell you what to do, stop controlling you, and you need to take control of your own life. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're an adult, you need to take your own responsibility and say, you know what, no more, enough's enough, and take those steps and be happy. Everybody's entitled to happiness.
Something I've noticed that when people aren't happy, they don't want to accept responsibility for their actions, and they always find excuses. And it's never their fault.
They do. I hear it all the time. I give a lot of seminars in regards to this, and I hear it all the time. But those excuses are what's holding them back. And it's also because they can't admit that they have an actual problem. And everybody on the outside looking at them probably recognizes that there is a problem, and, many people may have already mentioned it to them. But until you can actually say, you know what, there is a problem here. I need to make this change. They're not going to be able to make that change. You have to be able to do that first. And again, it goes back to first loving yourself. And like you said earlier, Rob, is you have to take responsibility for your actions and everything else around you and the decisions that you make.
Patty, if someone is depressed and they have children, how do we protect the children against the cause and effect of a depression with their parent?
You as a parent, if you are depressed, and I truly believe this, it is your ultimate responsibility to be a good parent to your children. And if you continue to live in a life of depression and sadness or anger, your children are the ones who are going to suffer. And that's not your children's fault. It is your fault. And again, it comes back to responsibility. So it is your responsibility to do whatever it takes to ensure that your children find that peace, serenity, a life that is happy. And you've got to make sure that they stay whole, because if you stay locked up in your world of sadness and depression and anger, it's going to affect your children. Whether you believe it or not, it will affect your children, whether they're young or older. And if they're still young, you have a chance to fix that now. And I tell everybody, don't put it off and wait till tomorrow, because when tomorrow comes, there's going to be another tomorrow. Make a decision and make your changes right now. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait, because the longer you put it off, the harder it's going to get on those kids. And, you don't want your kids getting wrapped up, with the drugs or in gangs or any other type of violence or horrible life. If, we as parents need to be there to be the role models for our children. That is our responsibility, and that is why we have children. So, everybody who's sad, angry, or depressed, don't stay in that state, because it's not fair to those kids. Those kids didn't ask to come into the world. You brought them into the world, so it's your responsibility to ensure that they are happy and that they live a great life.
How would someone know that they're depressed if they're suffering from a depression, if they haven't gone to see their local family doctor? What are some of the signs, symptoms?
A lot of the signs and symptoms, because that's a very good question, because a lot of people might not even think that they're angry or sad or depressed.
Yeah.
But a lot of the signs are sleeping all day long, just laying around, having no motivation to do anything. If you live at home and you don't feel like looking for a job, that's another sign. You know, I've heard many people say, you know what, I lost my job, I'm so depressed over it, but they won't get out and they won't go out there and try to find another job. If you're angry and you start yelling at everybody all the time and you just can't smile or you just can't feel good, you know, to smile and wake up that day, those are all signs and symptoms. Another big indicator is eating more or actually eating less, starving yourself, or eating too much. These are all part of depression, or people who don't find fulfillment in their life and they just can't find any satisfaction. But when you can't find fulfillment or satisfaction, it starts to get worse and worse, and sometimes it might turn into depression. So if you're starting to just lay around, not do anything, or you can't find any motivation to do anything, and you just want to sit around and watch TV all day, that is usually a sign that there is definitely something wrong.
All right, and if moms and dads have children, how can they tell if their child is depressed?
That's a great question as well, and it's basically the same thing. If the child all of a sudden isn't acting the way that they normally act, and you start seeing a sudden change in their behavior, their mannerisms with you, if they're talking back, if they seem sad, I mean, sometimes you can just see the sadness in children, if they're angry and they're starting to have outbursts more, and that's not normal or typical for your child, those are all forms of depression, and they are signs that are being shown to you, and you need to recognize them. And, you know, again, like I was saying earlier, no child should feel that way. And if they do feel that way, then there's definitely something wrong. Maybe there's something wrong in the family unit. Maybe there's something wrong at school or somewhere else. But it comes back to the responsibility of the parent to figure out what the problem is and why their child is acting that way and put a stop to it. And sometimes it takes sending your child to a therapist, sending them to go speak to someone so that they can vent and let it out in front of people who aren't within their own circle or their family, so that they can feel free to let it out as well. But it's definitely something truly important is if you see any of these signs in your children, and even in your spouses, do something about it. Don't let it just go and go and go, because you'll find that it'll feed onto you. And maybe you don't feel angry or depressed today, but if you start seeing that in somebody else who you're close to and who you love, it will affect you as well. So do something about it. Get help for people and start helping the people that you see that are like this.
Because it's not going to go away otherwise.
No, it won't. Yeah. It won't. And sometimes people in this state of mind can't do it on their own, and sometimes they need that support from somebody else to give them that nudge and push them. And if they get angry, let them get angry. Just keep giving them a little nudge here and there, and don't forget about them. And don't say, well, you know what, I tried. I tried. No, it's your responsibility to get them out of that and get them help. If it's that bad and you can't help them, then you've got to get them professional help somewhere else, because it won't change, like you were saying, Rob. It won't change at all until the support person changes it for them and tries to get them to recognize that there's a problem, or until they make the decision themselves to start taking those steps.
It's no difference than an alcoholic or a person who is addicted to drugs. They first of all have to admit it, that they have a problem. You know, you see it on TV where somebody stands up in front of the group and says, "Hi, my name is Terry, I'm an alcoholic." That's an admission. That's the beginning of the road to recovery. In today's society, it's a fast-paced society. It's also a stressful society.
Very stressful.
How do we balance everything out?
You know, I think what a lot of people do is they try to do too many activities at once. And because they've got so much going on, you know, nowadays, you know, both moms and dads are working. You know, the moms are also trying to take the kids to, you know, soccer, baseball, dance lessons. You, first of all, have to look at your day if you're feeling stressed out all the time, and you have to say, okay, why am I stressed all the time? Maybe you're just doing too much, and maybe you really don't need to have so many activities in your life. And if you are a family where both parents are working, then you know what? It's okay not to put your child into so many different activities. They're not going to miss out. And you should probably ask your children if they really, truly want to do this, or are you just saying, we want you to do this, do it, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses all the time. You don't have to do that, and you'll find that if you back off a little bit off of all these activities that you've got going on all the time, life might get a little more relaxed and not so stressful all the time.
How do you deal with stress at the workplace?
Stress at the workplace?
Yeah, because, there's a lot of different games being played at the workplace. You've got people who are jockeying for positions of advancement. You've got those who are involved in the office politics. You've got those who are involved in the covering of everybody's butt because they're not doing the job, and this person feels responsible and they take on the load of everyone else. Then you go home and it's bang, switch. And usually nowadays, mom or dad continue working after supper if they sit down and have supper with their kids. So where's the happy medium when it comes to the fast-paced society, the children, the school, and God forbid if you are depressed?
I think that the first thing you have to do is you have to learn to find the balance. And if you can't find the balance, then yes, everything's going to be stressful, everything's going to go haywire, and you're not going to find that peace. So like I was saying earlier, you need to maybe lessen some of your activities. That's number one. In regards to stress in the workplace, I think that you need to just know that if you know that you're doing your best job and everybody else is pushing you and they're saying, you know what, do more, do more, do more, stand up for yourself and say, you know what, I can only do so much. I know I'm doing a good job, and there's only so much I can do. If there's a lot of, people, gossiping and things like that, stay out of it. It all comes back to that negative and positive energy. So if there's a lot of chaos and negativity going on, keep yourself away from that and keep your positive face on and say, you know what, I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to let this stuff affect me. And if it truly is that bad in your job place, because I hear it all the time, people hate their jobs. Why are you at that job? Go find yourself another job. And there's so many people who, again, have that fear, which is false evidence appearing real, to take that step to go find another job because they get stuck and comfortable in the way that their life is.
They're in their own little comfort zone, and they don't want to venture out of that because they will feel totally insecure. And once you feel insecure, your whole world starts to shake. Patty Pobanz and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break. We'll also take a look at who's going to be on with us tomorrow night, and we'll do a review of tonight's show. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Do you sell dietary supplements? If so, you may know that the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission regulate your sales presentations. Violation of the federal rules can lead to stiff penalties. You really must know the law. Fortunately, help is just a phone call away. Law Talk Incorporated has produced a CD series, 4 CD interviews with renowned attorney Jonathan W. Emord that explain the legal limits on sales presentations. The CD series guides you through FDA and FTC regulation, explaining the law that governs sales presentations, website content, and health claims, as well as global restrictions on supplement sales. This is a must-buy for network marketers and supplement companies alike. To obtain the CD series, call 1-888-RU-FREE-1. 1-888-RU-FREE-1. That's 1-888-783-7331. Call today.
Whether it's the arrival of Planet X in 2012, the Earth's crazy weather cycles, our deadly global warming, Armageddon, UFOs, ETs, terrorism, the critical mass 2008 presidential elections, Dr. Jason Rand talks the talk and walks the walk. Being a twice-nominated Grammy record producer, recording artist, publisher, lecturer, UFO ET researcher and investigator, and best-selling author of
The Return of Planet X, Mankind's Ongoing Legacy with a Brown Dwarf Star,
Dr. Jason Rand truly does walk the walk and talk the talk. For more information on Dr. Jason Rand or to order The Return of Planet X, visit his website at www.returnofplanet-x.com or call 901-336-9660.
And where will you be in the year 2012?
And welcome back, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. On tonight's show, let me see, we started off tonight's show with Ken Klein from KenKleinTV.com. We talked about the true explanation for the pyramid, and then we spoke to Cal Korff and Dorothy Toon about what they are claiming is a major injustice to their son, who was shot by a deputy who really didn't shoot him. It was another deputy, and the son was treated and is being treated in a rather inhumane way in my books. Then Patty Pobanz is with us, so she's a spiritual expert. On tomorrow night's show, we have Dr. Jason Rand. We're going to be talking about the Norwegian politician statement, Windwalker Willie Gibson, talking about the paranormal, Bonnie Vent, who channels Steve Irwin, and Mike Woods from Ottawa. He went from Canadian rocker to author. That's tomorrow night here on the X Zone. Once again, Patty's website is www.pattypobanz.com. Patty, what can we tell our listeners in the next couple of minutes that would put them on the road to health and happiness?
You know, I think that the number one thing you have to remember is that you need to just take care of your body, because you are the only one who can do this. There's absolutely nobody else who can make your changes or who can take care of your body. And if you're the type of person who's not eating the right foods, if you're not feeling good, do that for yourself. That you're going to find that it's going to boost your self-esteem, you're going to feel good, and you're going to find that love from within. And if you are, say, an obese person, remember that obesity brings disease, and you need to take care of your body before you get affected with disease. So make the changes now. Don't put it off till tomorrow, because no one else can take care of you if you're sick or if you're not feeling good. And if you want to find happiness, it's out there. You deserve it, and everybody on this planet deserves it, and you're the only one who can make those changes.
Patty, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Continued success. Keep the great work up, and look forward to talking to you in the future here in the X Zone.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Patty is the author of Everlasting Peace in Your Life, God's Reminders to the World, www.pattypobanz.com. Well, that's it for us tonight here in the X Zone, everyone. I'd like to thank my producer at Master Control, the one and only Superman, for keeping us up on those 3 satellites in the sky, Galaxy 4R, Telstar 7, and Aglia 2, and around the world on TalkStarRadio.com streaming audio. To my wife and senior producer, the one and only Laura Rogers, thank you, sweetie, for all your hard work. And to the X Zone Nation, thank you for allowing us to be part of your day or night, no matter where you are in this great big world. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. You know, it's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we'll be back tomorrow night at 10, crossing the time-space continuum to this place that we call the X Zone. So until tomorrow night, my friends, you know, if you've got a little child at home, give them a hug, give them a kiss, because the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. And always take care of each other. Until tomorrow, keep your eyes to the sky.